This is Rashawn Slater, first round draft pick for the LA Chargers, and you're listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Bolt up.
Hello and welcome to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Bermudez, and on this podcast, we bring you the latest Chargers news. We preview and review every Chargers game, and we bring you, as always, the hottest off-season content around, and that's where we are. The off-season has started. It's the best time of year. It's the time for optimism and hope as franchises, in particular the Chargers, rebuild and drive towards the next opportunity to win the Super Bowl. It's been a busy week. You know, the season came to a dramatic finale this week. I'm sure we all watched the pinnacle of every NFL season, which ended with the Pro Bowl. Am I right, Was?
That was an all-star game, wasn't it, on Sundays?
Was it not a charity exhibition?
Charity exhibition game, yeah, with some singers at halftime. Yeah. I'm sure we rented our house out for a lot of money. Yeah, it was quite good. Chargers house.
Yeah, exactly. That was our house. It was just an exhibition game to show off the incredible stadium between two distinctly average and boring franchises. What was more important was the Pro Bowl the week before, which is always the Chargers' end-of-season celebration at the moment. Hopefully we'll change that next year. And who was MVP? The main man, Justin Herbert. And what a travesty that we weren't in the exhibition game, whatever we want to call it, the week after. You know, John, did you watch both of them or neither of them?
I didn't really watch the Pro Bowl. I watched a little bit of highlights, but I didn't really watch the Pro Bowl. I don't know. I'm not into flag football personally. So, you know, it is what it is. Everybody has their delights. Of course, I watched the Super Bowl. I had a lot of other things going on that day. Actually, I was in and out, moving stuff around, taking care of stuff around the house. So I wasn't really super involved in it. But, you know, it was a fine game. There was some good stuff, some bad stuff. I mean, ultimately, the second half was pretty, as you might say, bollocks. It was not good. It was pretty boring. The Cincinnati Bengals defense has some sort of special voodoo that they do on quarterbacks. And like, you know, quarterbacks will perform one way and offensive will perform one way in one half. And then when the second half rolls around, the defense somehow makes them confused and they all play like garbage. And for some reason, the Rams have decided, hey, you know, OBJ went out. So instead of, hey, let's rely and force feed the ball to our best player in Cooper Kupp, let's go to everybody else but Cooper Kupp. And then, you know, that didn't work. So then on the very last drive of the game, they're like, hey, remember that Cooper Kupp guy? Let's get him involved. Why not?
He's quite why not?
It's mind-blowing.
At one point, I thought Anthony Lynn was coaching for the Rams.
Oh, my God. Running on first down. It was so bad.
That's terrible.
I don't understand the game plan. And like, if I were the OC and, you know, I would be embarrassed and I wouldn't want to send this game tape to anybody who'd hired me. But you know what? It didn't matter. The Vikings still said, hey, you know what? Let's hire that offensive coordinator for our head coaching job. And how could that possibly go wrong?
It's just one of those, you know. Dan, did you crack open a cold one, enjoy SoFi, looking at the views, and then turn it off when the game was being played, or were you committed to the late night extravaganza?
I was committed. I stayed up. I watched the whole game, the halftime show. I watched the celebrations afterwards with Stan Kroenke being, yeah. And I didn't watch a minute of the Pro Bowl.
Did you not? So you didn't watch Herbert's?
I've seen the highlights since, but at the time,
low lights.
I didn't watch. I watched those 2 touchdown passes to was it Mark Andrews? That's about all I've seen.
Can we forget all of that nonsense? I actually wrote about Super Bowl party food and some drinks. You three got a mention. Microwave tea, cider, IPA, all garbage. I listed some nice pilsners, some German lagers to drink. I got no comments from you three.
Mate,
why are you drinking apple cider? I don't understand.
That's best.
Cider, the drink of gods.
I don't get that. I do
Rum,
not
bourbon and cider.
The only thing I know about cider is that it's in that one song. You take a whiskey drink. You take a cider drink.
You take a cider drink. Cider here being very different to cider in the States, of course.
Yes, it's not orange.
It's like drinking Snapple, John, but you get drunk, man. Just stay away from it. It's gash.
If you can't microwave it, I don't want any part of it.
I heard a rumor, however, that you have committed to the kettle game and upped it, and you can
Yes.
be forgiven. Is this rumor true? Can you confirm this? It's big off-season news.
Can I tell you
First
something?
signing of the off-season.
I've actually never microwaved any tea. I've never have done that. I've only used kettle. So I've had an old school kettle for a while, but I do actually now have a electric kettle, which is, by the way, a game changer. Like for me, I was like, oh, I gotta wait for how long for this thing to get hot? Like, why am I drinking this? I got an Nespresso to give me instant espresso. Why am I waiting for this water to heat up? And now I'm like, hey, water button, and it's hot in like a minute. I'm like, okay, cool. I can get behind this.
You see, we've upgraded to the next level above that, and that's a hot water tap. But is this in America? Are they in America? It's a tap in your kitchen, and it has a boiling water tap.
Hang on.
A boiler underneath it.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Because the energy bills have gone so high in the UK, we have to start microwaving our tea now to save on electricity.
Unreal. It is a bit of a crisis. But, there's two things I'll just say. We were talking about the Pro Bowl. Can I just say, I don't like the fact that we've gone back to this horrific no contact Pro Bowl. It got good for a couple. I say good. It got reasonable for a couple of years where there was a bit of contact. It was played at a high pace, and it was just dreadful this year. And they need to think. I know you don't want injuries, but if you're that bothered, just don't go. It needs to be something interesting. It can't just be flag football. The other thing I'm going to say is we didn't make the Super Bowl. I'm going to say the dirty word Super Bowl. It is out there. Congratulations to our brotherly neighbours, the Rams. It's your turn this time. We're coming for you. But the big thing I want to discuss is, do we as a franchise need to become more like the Rams? I watched Anthony Lynn, the Chargers-Rams Hard Knocks a couple of seasons ago, and I could not stand McVay. I didn't like him. He's way about him, his leadership. But him and Snead have created something. They go big, they go bold, they don't bother about early picks. They trade for big names like Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, and they created a franchise that wins and is competitive and gets the Super Bowl and has won it. And Telesco's been building in a different way. We talked about a couple of weeks ago how we all thought Telesco is on his last legs as our GM. Do you think our franchise needs to take a leaf out of our neighborly brothers, the Rams, and go big this offseason?
100%. We've got a head coach, fourth and Staley. We need a GM that's fourth and Telesco. Look, Les Snead, he went towards the end of the season. He signed Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr., and Eric Weddle. Arguably, two of those players are a massive risk. You know what you get with Von Miller. The reason why I had 150.5 sacks before the Super Bowl is because he's an absolute machine. One of the best players in the game in his position. Beckham, potential, but obviously he came through. And Eric Weddle, they picking a player out of retirement for 2 years. They knew exactly what they wanted to be. There's a reason why the Rams haven't got $75 million in cap space like the Chargers, because Les Snead was aggressive, and I think Tom Telesco needs to be the same. Obviously not reckless, but needs to roll the dice, get us the players that we need, have a bit of draft capital, and take us where we need to go, because there's a lot of work to do, especially on defense.
You see, I like that. Fourth and Telesco. I mean, that is a great ethos, and he is on his last sort of chance, to be fair. He isn't going to be hiring another. If Staley's a failure, he ain't going to go for it. We've already gotten bold on the pitch. So, those free agents are out there, and LA likes big, bright, sparkly things. It likes to win a Super Bowl. It likes stars coming in, and Herbert isn't enough to attract LA to our brand of football. So, Dan, do you think it's time to give LA the bright lights of the Chargers, Devontae Adams, some other big names? Are you going for it, or keep building slowly?
I like the approach that the Rams took. I don't know that it's sustainable. And you look at all the players that the Rams have signed that they're not going to be able to keep this year. Like, will they keep Odell Beckham after what looked like a knee tear in the same knee that he injured previously? Will they be able to keep Von Miller? Will we be able to tempt Von Miller to just stick around a bit, maybe hang out at SoFi a bit longer? I'm all for going out and actually spending and not spending on like let me put it this way. If we're going to go out and spend, I want us to go out and spend on someone who's maybe hitting free agency for the first time at the end of their first contract, trying to leave their team, not someone who has bounced around and is our age and like we're just going to go out and get like a Brian Balagas. That's not what I want to see. I don't know who that player would be, but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
We'll get to that when it's your turn to be Telesco on up subsequent episodes. And for those that are listening, we are going to have some big, bold episodes. We're all going to be Tom Telesco. We're going to analyze the roster, and each of us will make our decisions on who to sign, cut, trade for, draft. That is coming up in the next few weeks. Stay put. Some massive off-season content. I'm going to go over to California. John, we've all had our say. You know, Woz and Dan think that it's time to go big and bold and become the Rams. Do you want to become banana helmets?
So I think there's some part of that organization that I think can definitely be modeled after. And one of that is their ability to hit on mid to late round prospects. So something that people keep wanting to talk about is, they don't have any first round picks. They keep trading away first round picks for veterans. Okay. And yeah, that model's not necessarily sustainable. Okay. You can only do that for so long. Right. But what allows them to do that, what allows them to sign big free agents and be right near the cap every year is that they can have a lot of cost controlled guys who contribute to the team positively. That has been a weakness for Telesco. His draft picks outside of the first 3 rounds have tended to be pretty bad and pretty useless, right? The Rams, on the other hand, have had plenty of guys in rounds 4 through 6 that have actually contributed and that are actually solid players in this league, right? So because they have a roster of guys who can fill holes and add depth, they can be top heavy. The problem with Telesco is that he's not good at drafting in those rounds. He's just not. His track record is bad. So basically, those are wasted picks and thrown away. So yeah, it's hard for us to model us after the Rams and say, hey, we'll trade away a first round pick when, hey, most of our guys aren't any good outside of the first round. So we don't have the luxury of doing that, right? The other thing is people keep saying, oh, well, they're going to be in cap hell. Well, they can restructure. They can restructure almost $100 million if they want to, right? They're not going to. That's too much money to restructure and push down the line. But there's always an opportunity to keep restructuring and make things work, to keep your window extended as long as possible, right? So, yes, they're going to go through 1 or 2 bad years. It's going to happen, right? There's going to be 1 or 2 years where they're going to have to deal with the fact that they didn't have first round picks and that their cap situation is pretty bad. And they may have a 1 or 2 struggle years. Okay. It happens. Well, I would trade a Super Bowl for 3 or 4 struggle years and then get back on my feet. Then, 10 years of mediocrity, which is what we pretty much have with Telesco, right? We have basically 9 years of mediocrity, a couple good years where we're like, oh, wow, this team is really doing something. And then the rest of the years have been failures. So, I don't know if you think being a good GM is being really cost conscious and having good first round picks and, not overspending, then great. Telesco is your budget GM. Be happy with that. But personally, I don't mind going after and going for it and getting a Super Bowl and then, maybe being bad for a year or 2, right? Because with Telesco, you're going to be bad for a year or 2 every once in a while anyway. So you might as well, in the good years, be really good, right? There's yet to be a year, in my opinion, where this team was really, really good under Telesco. Yes, there have been some good teams, but there's never been a full team effort where it's been like, this team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender, right? It just hasn't been there for Telesco. So to have teams that are good but not great, and then to have some bad teams out there, that screams to me that you're not doing a good job as a GM, in my opinion. So yes, I don't mind modeling this whole, hey, let's do boom or bust, because you know what? It works, right? Yeah, maybe they have some bad years, but they have some really good years. And I'd rather have some really good years with some really bad years as well than to be, hey, you know what? We're just not very, we're average, right? To me, the worst thing you can be is mediocre. The worst thing you can be is middle of the pack, right? Because then you're picking anywhere between 15 and 20 every year. Well, picking between 15 and 20 every year sucks. It means you didn't make the playoffs, but it means you're also not getting a high-end draft pick. I'd rather be really good and really bad and alternate. Because even if you don't have a first-round pick, guess what? If you were really bad, your second-round pick is going to be pretty high. Right. So it's going to be like having a late first round pick anyway. So I'm sorry, but I do buy into this whole, hey, let's go for it. And, we'll suffer for 1 or 2 years and we'll bounce back. Why? Because the cap is continually going to go up. You're able to restructure guys. You're able to trade guys away, right? You're able to have gymnastics around these bad years. And it happens, right? So look at the Ravens. The Ravens are in a good situation. They've signed some good players, but then half their team went on IR, right? Like, those years happen. And if you're telling me those years can happen to even a good team with like the Ravens, who are a good team, not a great team, a good team, then I'd rather just be, I'd rather be really good sometimes and really bad the other times and just let it even itself out.
But John, I think I would take 1 Super Bowl and 9 years of misery than 9 years of just mediocrity. Because, this is the other thing. And Snowy, thank you for your comment. Disappointing. He says that it'd be disappointing if we didn't make a big free agent splash. And just stuck to re-signing. This is the point. There are 3 peaks to my NFL season. There is draft day, where being high up and getting an exciting pick is incredible. Seeing who you get is fantastic. Number 2 is seeing who you sign in free agency, the big name splash. And number 3 is Super Bowl. That's it. The rest is just water under the bridge. Doesn't really matter. It's exciting. These are the exciting 3, the holy trinity. Telesco is great at winning the draft with the draft nicks on day 2. He never makes a free agent splash.
Definitely A+ draft class every year.
Oh, A+. I love it. He hits one of my 3, and then I get disappointed for the other 2. But Snowy's correct. Let's bring in someone ludicrous, a big name, whereas every single NFL website, podcast is going, oh my God, have you seen what the Chargers have done? They mean business. That's what I want this year. We do need depth, so I would rather spend that money on bringing in some exciting names and continue to build with some solid prospects, draft up a little bit, get some exciting talent. But I agree with John. I don't think we have enough depth to go and get 2 or 3 big pieces.
The problem the Chargers have got right now and probably for the next 6 to 9 years, the division runs through Kansas City. If we can't even get through the division, season's dead and buried, as we've seen this year. The Bengals, 10-7, make the Super Bowl because that was good enough for the North. Every other division in the NFL, the divisional winner had at least 11 wins. In the AFC West, we have to have 12 wins. And even then, in 2018, it was only good enough to get a wild card spot. So unless Telesco is aggressive, unless we do bring in an absolute stud in the first and second round, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us trading up and taking 3 studs in the first 2 rounds. We're just going to be treading water, and we're just going to be going round and round and round, and we can't afford to do that. Look, we have got an absolute gem of a quarterback in Justin Herbert. He deserves a lot better than what we gave Phillip Rivers, because at times the Chargers with Phillip Rivers look bloody terrible, and we can't afford for Herbert to sort of be in quicksand, if you like, and get sucked down because the team are not supporting him. He needs a defense. We've got to go out and be aggressive.
I've figured it all out. I've got it all. It's all sorted here. So the Pro Bowl, Justin Herbert, his 2 touchdowns, Mark Andrews. We're losing potentially. Yeah, we're potentially losing Jared Cook, Steven Anderson. They're both free agents. What's a better name to bring in than Rob Gronkowski?
You pulled the Gronk name out of the hat. You had to go there, didn't you? Let's not do the Rams way.
You said a big name, and I was just thinking, who's a big name that's out there? And it's a position that clearly worked well with Herbert at the Pro Bowl. And plus, Gronkowski plays like it's the Pro Bowl. No one tackles him, so...
Well, he says he wants to go to the Bengals, but now they're losers and they came second.
Exactly.
I doubt that's going to happen. And maybe, he'll go to the 49ers when Brady comes out of retirement, signs for the 49ers. Gronk will go there. And then we've got yet more competition in California.
Look at Beckham. He was in the abyss at Cleveland. Comes to the Rams and he's playing like an MVP style wide receiver. There's always, it's horses for courses. If the cap fits all that there's a player that will go to a team and shine and it'll be reignited. We saw that with Beckham, okay? And I think there'll be somebody out there in free agency that can do the same. I mean, talking about age, I know you guys, and I know John's not a fan of having players north side of 30, but I think there's players in free agency that we can get just to plug a hole, pardon the pun, for a year until the draft. Then we can look at a tackle because we need to go heavy on defense.
But was you missing the whole banana? Is this? This is Telesco and Staley's last year. This is a big. Everyone, brace yourself. This is a huge prediction. I'm going hot. This is Staley and Telesco's last year if we fail to make the playoffs and then go deep. If they don't manage it, if they don't get in, definitely both gone. If we go one and done and dribble out, they're gone. We need to win. And that means you cannot most draft picks take 1 to 2 years to get good. So you need to go big. I'm predicting trades. Big trades.
You're missing what I'm trying not to steal my own sandwiches for Telesco. What I'm saying is we are going to go big. We need to go big, but there's free agents out there that we can bring in if they're veterans. I'm not saying Gronk's the right answer. We'll use Gronk as an example that can do a job for us just to give us a bit of an incremental upgrade in certain areas. Meanwhile, we've drafted some studs and we've brought 2 or 3 big name players in. I think that's the way we have to do it because we've got so many areas to chase, so many players in skill positions that need upgrades. You've got to go for free. You've got to go for a 3-pronged strategy: quality drafts, big names, and some veterans that will give us 16 games.
Well, I'm going to give you all a question. I want to put you on the hot seat. I don't want to steal anyone's sandwiches, but would you rather this year's first round pick, no matter the position, whatever you think, or we give it away and we make an exciting trade? Trade or first round draft pick? John Ayres first.
Trade. 100% trade. I'm sorry. First round draft pick is great. That's great to have first round picks, but there's not a. Let me say it this way: at pick 17, we are not getting a franchise defining player likely, right? The chances of a guy like, Derwin James falling to 17 again is not as likely, right? He had an injury concern, which we got lucky with, and he got. I guess you could say lucky. I mean, he's missed 2 whole seasons, over 2 whole seasons worth of games at this point. So yes. Generational talent. I love Derwin James. I have a Derwin James jersey. I will never smirch for Derwin James. But if you look at the draft pick outside of he's generational talent when he plays, but he's played like half the time. So, whatever. That's what you get with the 17th pick in the first round, right? If you look at that talent that we're going to likely get, which is going to be tier 2, right? Your tier 1 elite players are in most positions are probably going to be gone by the time the Chargers pick at 17. That is just the most likely scenario. Again, not guaranteed, but the most likely scenario is the tier 1 elite prospects are going to be gone by 17, meaning we're probably going to get a really good player. That's fine. He's really, really good, but he's a really good rookie. Really good rookies tend not to explode year 1. They tend to maybe sophomore year be really good, or maybe even year 3 be really, really good. Well, I don't need a player right now with all the holes we have to be really, really good in 2 or 3 seasons. I need a player to be really, really good this coming up season. So if you can tell me we can trade away the 17th pick and we can get a game-changing player back, I'll sign me up, right? Sign me up. I want a game-changing player. I want somebody who makes this team immediately that much better. And I can promise you right now, there's not anybody who's going to be there at 17 that's immediately making this team that much better, right? Best case scenario, one of those corners who have some question marks tend to erase the doubts and become really, really good, right? An ASJ type player, right? He's definitely got some deficiencies in the height category, which is why he fell to us, but he's really, really good, made the team better. I don't know if there's a cornerback at 17 who's necessarily going to be that good that doesn't carry some risk. So give me the big name, give me the, hey, impact player right now. So that's where I'm at.
John knows exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to go down this way to Dan. Trade or first round pick? What you having?
Trade.
Yes.
But you're missing a situation here. It could be both. Why not trade for a higher first round pick? No, that's something I don't see us doing. Trading up necessarily. I haven't looked too much at the college players yet, but I think with the amount of positions we've got depth concerns at, I don't think that necessarily picking a player who may or may not work out, may or may not have a good career, is necessarily worth it when we could go out and potentially pick someone who's already proven, already at that level. So I'd go with trade nearly every time, I think, unless we were in that upper like 8 to 10 picks. 10's even a bit of a push, but yeah.
Loving it. Boz is nappy. Apart from getting absolutely trolled by some random Vikings fan every day.
Yeah,
cheers,
I know.
Chris. Merry Christmas, Chris. But yeah, what do you think? Which are you having? Do you not think 17 could be great? We could get another Murray K9.
We're not. 17 is not going to be our first draft pick.
Oh, here we go. Bold claim coming.
We're going to trade. We're going to trade up. We're going to get a top 10 round draft pick. I'm telling you. Watch the space.
I don't want you to eat a hat because I would be happy with that. No. If we don't go big, I'd take that.
I tell you now, I think Telesco will make moves to get us a tackle. I'm not saying Evan Neal because he's probably a top 3 pick. Get a tackle and two players on defense, either defensive back, interior defensive line in the first 2 rounds.
Bold. We need to make these splashes. I just like the atmosphere of boldness from all of us. We're all on the same page. We think the Chargers are going to make a splash and start driving. It's our time. We don't have long left on Herbert's rookie contract, so why the devil not? Listeners, we're going to be talking about our plans, who we think we should sign, draft, keep, cut. All of us will be Tom Telesco for the day. Sorry, Tom. There'll be 2 of you for a while, and maybe 5 of you eventually. So that's coming up. There's going to be tons of off-season content. Drop us a note what you want to hear from, what you want to see. We've got some great interviews coming as well. Guys, before we wrap up, what are you all excited about? Right now, the season is afresh. We've left our dirty laundry of a missed playoff season behind. The Chargers are on the road to a Super Bowl, and all is possible. What excites you, Dan?
Potential, hope. Both are there. I always enjoy the draft process, so I'm looking forward to spending some time delving into that a bit more and reading all of these expert takes. That's what I'm looking forward to for the next 2 months. When is the draft? It must be
April.
It's always on my birthday. Should be end of April.
Last weekend of April.
It's the 28th of April. There we go. Yeah.
That is my birthday. There you go. Remember it. Put it in your diaries.
21 days after
it's already in the diary. It's the 28th of April.
What's getting you giddy?
Where do you want me to start? The draft, OTAs, training camp, talking with you 3 about football, trying to get on the system to get NFL tickets for Tottenham, and then obviously the new season. Football cannot start soon enough for me. I'm ready to go again. Normally this time of the year, I'm like, about 6 months, it's been draining. I'm ready for a reset. I'm not. I just want to go again. I really do just want to go again.
I love it. He's just born for the NFL. John, excited?
I'm excited because I don't have to listen to how much of a winner Joe Burrow is for the rest of that because he lost the Super Bowl. You can call it sour grapes. I'm just so tired of hearing, oh, he's a winner. I don't give a crap. Winning is not a QB stat, right? I mean, there's some really good stats out there showing how badly he actually played. His EPA per play is got to be one of the worst for football runs, right? I said it the other day online. I was like, when it comes to the way Joe Burrow played, he was less Joe Montana and more Joe Flacco, right? That's who he was. He was, hey, I'm a fine quarterback and I can throw it up deep, whenever I need to. And that was what Flacco was, right? He was a fine quarterback who could
Yeah.
throw it up deep every once in a while. And that's what Burrow was. And, I couldn't, I don't know, like, as much as I'm going to hate having to listen to Rams fans talk about how great the Rams are, like, honestly, I can't, I'm so tired of the Joe Burrow is the next great thing or whatever. Cause it's just, I cannot stand it. So I'm excited that he was exposed for how bad he was in the playoff run, because really he had nothing to do with that run. I can, off the top of my head, the defense having 9 interceptions, right? Looking elite out there for some reason. The kicker having one of the greatest all-time playoff kicking runs of all time. I mean, just one of the greatest of all time. Jamar Chase being amazing. Joe Mixon being a difference maker. They were all more important, in my opinion, than Burrow. I think you could have put in Derek Carr. I think you could have put in pretty much any, average level quarterback, and the Bengals would have still had the same success. Because I just don't think that there was there were maybe 1 or 2 plays a game where you're like, oh, yeah, Joe Burrow just did something great. But the rest of the time, you look at like Phillip Rivers out there like a statue getting sacked left and right. You can tell me all day long, oh, the line's bad. Oh, look how many sacks he took. Yeah, a lot of those sacks are his fault, right? There's a thing called avoiding pressure. There's a thing called not creating pressure for your own offensive lineman because you step back too far and you let that pass rush get to you. Yeah, Burrow wasn't any good at that. The only thing he was good at was getting the ball away quickly, much like our man Phillip Rivers. Burrow, hot take, Phillip Rivers 2.0.
I tell you what, John, on the Bengals, if they don't fix that offensive line, he's going to look like Andrew Luck. And we don't want to see players getting injured and having to retire early.
No, I'll tell you what, the one thing I was not
serious, man. He's getting beaten up, man.
I just want to be clear. I wanted him to do poorly. I did not want him to win the Super Bowl, but I did not want him to get injured.
Correct.
That's the lie. I never root for injury. I cannot stand injuries. I don't like that.
No.
If I want someone to fail, I want someone to fail because they're mediocre, but they smoke cigars and everybody thinks they're good. That's why I want them to fail.
Yes.
Not because they hurt themselves.
I tweeted about the Luck situation during the Super Bowl, and the Bengals have got some serious issues there up front. They've got to sort. 19 sacks in the postseason. 53 in the regular season. What the hell, man?
Well, here's some Andrew Luck stats for you. I forget who put this up there, but Andrew Luck's over his his first 70 games had a 15.95 pressure rate, right? So that's pressures. So that almost 16 almost every 16 pressures per game he was taking, right? Burrow, who has more sacks in his first 30 games than Andrew Luck did. Burrow with the more sacks only gets about a 9.6 pressure per game.
Yeah, but Luck was
so
good.
Less pressures, more sacks. That's Joe Burrow, meaning he's not doing a good enough job getting out of those sacks. That's all. It's definitely not all his fault. Definitely the offensive line's fault, but he could be doing something to help them, and he's not. So that's all I'm saying.
Just listen to the excitement, the debate, the plans we have coming. I'm looking forward to when you're all to Let's Go. None of you will be as good as me, but we'll see. Guys, the off-season officially begins now. There it is. The flag is do you lower a flag to begin the off-season? Do you raise something? I don't know. Whatever it is you do, it happens now. Cut the ribbon. No, that's a new building. Whatever. So here we go. The Chargers' optimism and the road to the next Super Bowl is on. And there's one thing I'm going to say. Justin Herbert, Pro Bowl MVP, baby.
And before you go, Herbert's jersey, Vapor Elite, is live on Fanatics. A sweet $350. It's yours right now.
They sponsoring us. On that note, on that drastic bombshell, bold up.
Bold up.
Bolt up.